Hey, and good evening. How is everybody? If you are here, please say hello and let me know if you can hear me okay. Last night I did a quick live stream on Facebook and I had a cable go out on me, so that wasn't too fun. But anyway, I hope you're well. And tonight we're going to talk about influences. What makes us the people that we are? What and who? All kinds of influences in our life. All right, so I'm going to say hello to my man Mike. I see him out there. I don't see anybody else right yet. It does say there's a few more people on, but I'm not sure they're saying hello. So um, anyway, I'll wait for just a tad before we actually get this thing started. Um, Feel free to chime in anytime, and if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. So this is my Woodshed Wednesdays show. I used to do these during the pandemic, and I played some music for people and that kind of stuff. But right now, I'm just getting set up here. My wife and I had to move from South Carolina back up north, and so I'm getting set up. And in the meantime, I'm going to get on here and talk a little bit and say hi to folks, and we're going to talk about some cool stuff. So anyway, that is what is going on at the moment. While I'm waiting, I will tell you, I have a store with some of my music available for sale, some merchandise as well. So if you would like to check that out, let me know. I can put the link in the comments. It's also in my description. Mike, how's it sound out there, buddy? Let's see. All right. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, well, I'm assuming it's going. Um, on my end, it seems like it is. Okay, got it, Mike. Thank you very much. All right. Um, so anyway, you know, all of us have influences. You know, my influences were many and varied. I'm a musician by trade and been doing it since I was a little kid. And I have a lot of different influences. Lots of, because I love all kinds of music. And I also like other things too. So I'm going to share with you some of the people that I love and have influenced me. And influences can be, the heroes that you have in life that you look up to. You also have heroes that can be in your family or friends of yours that are your heroes. So these are the folks that make an impact on you. And I've had many of those in my life. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start. I see Mike is here. He's saying hello, and good to hear from you, Mike, as always. Have you pulled that guitar out yet? I do have that question for you. We talked about you starting to play again. So I'm hoping that you do get that thing out of the closet and start playing. Guitar is a great instrument. I'm fascinated by it every day, and I've been playing since I was 9 years old. So, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about some influences. I'll take breaks in between these. I just have some pictures to show you. And I'm going to start with this first photo collage. In fact, I'm going to put it up, and I would like you to name some of the people that are in the photo if you know them. Also, I will say this. If you make a comment and I don't respond, it's not because I'm ignoring you. Sometimes it's hard for me to catch them all. So we're going to take a look at this first photo. It was a really great gig. We played for our friends. They used to pass the hat, and we actually would make some money and had a lot of fun, except for when the people would cut your guitar cord in half with their skates. That happened a few times. All right, so that is photo number one, and those are some early influences for me. Now, besides early musical influences, I had some sports heroes that I looked up to for many reasons. Some of it was just because they were so great at what they did, but they also had other characters. They could be kind, they could be really disciplined. So here's a few of my influences that really shaped me as not just at the time a baseball player, but as a musician and as a person. Influenced me in the sporting arena and also in my life and my life as a musician. All right, so I'm going to take a second here and say hello. Hey, Laura Nedley, how are you doing? Great to see you. Scott Lusk, man, Scott and I go way back. We played in the stage band together, and he's just the greatest guy, and we've been friends such a long time. And we even did some shows together as adults as well. And he said he purchased my CD and he's really enjoying it, and I appreciate that, Scott. That's the Tone Poem CD, and I really thank you for grabbing that. All right, who is this? Oh, Darren, are you in Vegas? Darren, is that Darren Miller? Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, our good friend Mike Panich, otherwise known as Pickles. Don't get mad at me, Mike. It's great to see all of you. Let's see. Anybody else that I'm missing? No, no, no. So, Scott, you mentioned in your comment Jack Seibel. And funny that you should mention him because I have him up as a major influence. cared so much to encourage people. And I would do the smallest things. I would go home and practice things, and I'd come back and, play a melody and then embellish it with some lines in between. And he would get so excited over the simplest things, and it would inspire me to go home and practice even more. And I can't thank him enough. And to this day, I just don't know. I don't know what I would have been without this guy. He was so important to me. And unfortunately, he passed away while we were in school. Actually, I was really blessed. I was very sick, and I didn't go to school that day. And he actually had a heart attack on stage during a concert. And I am thankful that I didn't see that. But what a great loss. And he influenced so many people. So that's another wonderful influence for me. And I know for Scott, who's here, and just probably thousands of other kids. So Jack Seibel, I'll never forget him. So Darren, how's it out in Vegas? I bet that weather's just terrible, huh? I know. I was hoping the electric would stay on here because they were calling for tornado warnings. And if you lose me all of a sudden, you'll know why. Hopefully not. If you hear the theme from The Wicked Witch playing, I gotta run. All right. So anybody else have any influences they'd like to mention? I want to have a conversation here, so if you have any, let me know, because I'd love to hear who made differences in your lives. And you're saying the weather is not too bad, actually. When you say not too bad, Darren, what do you mean? Are we talking like 80 degrees and sunny? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I haven't been to Vegas in years. I played there many, many years ago. In fact, it was so long ago that there was a place called Del Webb's Mint, and it was downtown, and the downtown wasn't covered like it is now. Okay. So any other influences, if they come to mind, Darren, that's about right. Well, that sounds like you're having a terrible time, Darren. By the way, Darren Miller is another talented musician and just a wonderful guy. Has helped me a lot. So he's another person I look up to. All right, I'm going to move on to photo 4. Collage. Are some influences that I had as a kid. I love that music. In fact, I can tell you this. To this day, if my wife go on a road trip, we are earth, wind, and firing it out all the way. It's just that music never sounds stale to me. It sounds as fresh as the day I heard it. As soon as I hear the groove to Serpentine Fire, man, I can't. You can't sit still. All right, I'm going to look at a couple comments here. Mike said, "My grandfather. Oh, you went to live with him when you were 8 years old. You were grateful for them. Yeah, I can relate. I can relate to that because it wasn't my grandfather, although I love all my grandparents. I loved them. They were so great. But I had a stepmom. And so my stepmom stepped in when I was 8 years old, basically. And man, she was there for everything. She was there for all of the critical things in my life. So She was amazing, and she did pass away um, back in 2021. But how blessed I was to have her. And Mike, I'm sure you were blessed by your grandfather. So I'm so glad to hear that. Hey, Mark Poole, another musician friend of mine, wonderful musician and teacher. Um, I've known Mark quite a while. In fact, I played before the pandemic with his percussion ensemble. I remember we played a Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine song, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. Um, yeah, Mike, there's nothing like having family members like your grandfather. So you're blessed to have that. Not everybody gets that kind of thing. And sometimes we have influences that aren't good. So, I mean, I've had some really bad things happen to me, and even the bad things ended up having silver linings eventually. Sometimes you have to look for them. You really have to look. But I'll have to tell you about some of those. Darren says, my third grade teacher was the one who inspired me to play guitar. There you go. I started the piano at 5, the trumpet at 8. They were okay, but guitar was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Well, I have a similar thing. I started piano at 8, and the guitar did it for me. But I think if I hadn't played guitar, I'd have been a tenor saxophone player. I've always loved tenor sax. In fact, you'll see in my influences here, I have a few of them mentioned. But that's great. Let's see. Let me make sure I say his name right. Pete Scheidmantel. Did I do okay, Darren? Anyway, he sounds like he was a great influence on you, and you're still doing it today, and you're out there making people happy. So that's what it's all about. All right, anybody else? This is great. I love hearing this stuff. I love it. Ah, you did that. You looked him up and told him. See, that's great. That's great. I had a similar experience with a teacher, and she was awesome. Um, she wasn't a music teacher, but she was my trigonometry teacher when I was in 11th grade. And I was showing up and I was playing gigs. I was coming in like me and my good friend Steve Treadle, who has passed away, great drummer. Um, we were playing shows on Wednesday nights out. It was when disco was big. So we were young guys. We were like, 16 years old, but we were playing with, adults in their 40s and stuff that were playing clubs. So we would play and then come to school with like no sleep. And I was in trigonometry class, and I was actually a really good student most of my tenure as a student. But once I realized I wanted to be a full-time musician, I would go home every day right after school and practice all day until I was exhausted, and then try to do a little bit of homework. So anyway, my teacher, her name was Judith Cooper, and she was just the best. She came to me one day and she said, Tony, you're not really into my class very much, are you? And I said, Miss Cooper, no offense, but I don't think that trigonometry is going to factor into my life very much because I want to be a musician. And she knew that. So she said, okay, young man, we're going to the guidance counselor. And I went, oh, great, I'm in trouble. They're going to give me detention or something. And she said to the guidance counselor, can we get this young man a study hall in the band room instead of my class so he can practice his instrument? And I found her later on. She's friends of mine on Facebook, and she is the sweetest and coolest. And I had to remind her that she did this for me, but I never forgot it. So, Darren, I understand that totally. All right. Paul Scandrel. Laura, I loved Mr. Scandrel. He was great. He used to make me laugh because he would come up to me, and I was into all these guys, and I'm going to show you about them. But when I was a teenager, I was really listening to like George Benson and Wes Montgomery and all these people, and there was a guitarist named Earl Klugh who played nylon string, and I love his playing to this day. And Mr. Scandrel would come up and talk about him, but he didn't say his name right. He would call him Earl Klugh. I love that Earl Klugh. Hey, Tony, I love that Earl Klugh. So I didn't have the heart to tell him he was saying it wrong, but he was great. He was another one that inspired a lot of people. I mean, he taught what, grade school, got kids going real early, and yeah. So how blessed we are to have these people in our lives. Oh, he was a family friend too. Yeah, I loved him. He was really, really cool. I mean, I had several people: Steve Lemonakis, uh, Mark Davis. Let's see. Okay, so Mark Poole says my high school drum teacher, Randy Sanderback, WVU percussion department. He has a resume a mile long. Oh, awesome, awesome. That's great, Mark. See, this is the stuff. I mean, we do not come from nothing. You know, we have those people that shape us in our lives. Oh, Scott, you did part of your student teaching with Mr. Scandrel. That's so great. He was the coolest guy. He was a neat guy. That's wonderful. He also used to come to me, and I had stage band, he would say, I don't know if you know who this guy is, but Freddie Green. He played guitar, and and he was famous for playing, straight rhythms. So if I wasn't doing that in stage band and he heard me, he'd say, Freddie Green, Freddie Green. All right. Okay, he's retired. Oh, he's playing in a blues band in Florida, the Barker Project. Oh, that's so cool. All right, Darren. Ah, well, that's nice, Darren. I'm glad I could be some kind of good influence. That's cool. Yeah, sorry I cost you money, but thank you. Um, all right, so I'm going to move to the next photo I have up here. This is another set of people. And they were influences on me as well. So you had guys like Larry Carlton, and I mean, there were tons. Jay Graydon. I mean, I don't want to. There's so many. It's hard for me to even think. Denny Diaz, all these people uh, that were just amazing players that played on that stuff. So that was really quite influential on my playing and writing and all that stuff. All right, let me look at some comments. Oh, Darren, I'm sorry. Well, that's not good. Let me see something here. I don't know why that's happening. And I said all kinds of stuff. Thank you for letting me know. That's terrible. Hang on. Let me see if I can rectify that. Uh, and if you have any comments, make them. I'll try to multitask. Sometimes I can do that. Let's see here. There's something got changed on me. Hang on. Any OBS specialists out there? Let's see. Copy. All right, I'm going to go back to photo 1 and I'm going to try something. Can you hear me now during photo 1? Let me know. And while you're letting me know, your Bronco baseball coach, Dutch Morris. Oh, that's awesome. He came to visit you. Yeah, I had some great baseball coaches too that were really influential. All right. So Mike, you said you heard that. Yes. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go back through these guys real quick. And so I mentioned these guys being influences. I apologize for that. For some reason, the microphone got cut out. So the sports influences, Roberto Clemente, the great Ted Williams, Bruce Lee. All these guys were terrific at what they did. And they were also not only very skillful, but really disciplined people. Roberto Clemente was also a great humanitarian. So he had kindness and major ability and great discipline. And Ted Williams could hit like nobody. He was a real scientific batter. When I was a kid, there was a book called The Science of Hitting that I bought by Ted Williams. And then, of course, Bruce Lee. I was not a martial artist whatsoever, but he was amazing, and he was just amazingly disciplined. All right. I'm coming back on camera so you could hear me talk about those guys. Good now. Okay, great. So I know what I have to do. So I went on and on about Jack Seibel, and I hope you can hear. Wait, let's see. I went on and on about this guy, Jack Seibel, and I'm going to be quick now because I already took up a bunch of time. But he was amazing. This guy heard me when I was in 8th grade, asked me to be a part of the stage band, encouraged the heck out of me. I would not be the person I was today without his influence. Jack Seibel, an amazing, amazing man. And I'm certain that everyone that came in contact with him misses him dearly. And I'll never forget him. I'm going to come back and see some comments here. All right, Mike Panich, there you go. Okay, good. I have figured out what I have to do. For some reason, the microphone disappeared. It was supposed to be there with the photos, and for some reason it disappeared. You know, gremlins, they happen. And everything's good now, though, right? All right, so back to... This would be my funk, like teenage influences. James Brown, Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament Funkadelic, that's George Clinton to the right there. James Brown, groove, guitar, funky guitar, groove, horns, Earth, Wind and Fire, groove, horns, soul all over the place. Parliament, funk, just funk. Earth, Wind, and Fire. I said this when the mic wasn't working. That my wife and I can't go on a road trip without having Earth, Wind, and Fire in the car. And as soon as we hear Serpentine Fire, like the party starts because the groove is just so infectious. You can't help but move. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Let's see. Photo 5. And again, I'm going to be quick with this. These are some rock influences I had when I was a teen, and I appreciated the group Toto very much because they were really great musicians. Like they did so much studio work. In fact, you all don't know how much you've probably heard them because their body of work for other people is insane. I mean, they're some of the most recorded people in history. So, Steve Lukather, just incredible, the guitar player. What I love about him and the next group over, that would be Journey and Neil Schon. Both of those guys could play with a lot of fire, but they also played great melodies. So, I'm a guy that hopes to play melodically as well as, having fire. And there's a guy I didn't get to mention in this group of people with fiery guitar players, Gary Moore. Gary Moore, wow. Another one gone too soon, but amazing. So below those two groups, I have one of my favorite rock singers, and that would be Bad Company, right? Anybody know his name? The great Paul Rodgers. A voice that's like magic for me when I hear it. It's amazing. And then to the right of that would be Steely Dan, and those guys just for the complexity of their music, really creative guys, and always had the A-listers playing, and the guitarists on those records like Larry Carlton and Jay Graydon and Denny Diaz and all those guys that were on there were an influence on me as well. All right, let's see. I see some new people here. We have David Bucci. Great to see you again, David. I am doing well, thank you. And all right, Laura, thank you for the thumbs up there. Okay, I'm going to move on to some other folks now. So those are some other rock and blues influences, and I have others. Darren, great choices. Thank you. They are. Those guys, all those people mean so much to me. I mean, I think of if these people hadn't existed, like I would not be the person I am. So it's really kind of amazing the effect people can have on you. Now, my next set of blues guys. All right, cut out again. Let me do that again, Darren. Sorry. Uh, B.B. King. There's three Kings and a Collins in this picture. All heroes of mine. B.B. King, vocals and guitar, amazing. Freddie King is right below him. Albert King is to the right of BB. And then Albert Collins. They called him the Iceman. And all of those guys are, again, unique. They're unique souls. They each have their own fingerprint on music. All right. Got it. I think I have it figured out. Little buggy tonight. Did you guys hear me on that second blast of the Kings and Albert Collins? So these are female vocalists that I love and musicians. Aretha Franklin is on the left, and she could play piano really well. A lot of people didn't know that. And she sang, of course, the Queen of Soul. I mean, my gosh, what an exciting, wonderful voice and soulful. And then to the right of her, another one that I love is Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie Raitt's so soulful, and she can play great guitar too. And just her, man, what a great character she has. So again, really unique, and influential for me. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King in session. That David, that's a beautiful thing, and there's video of that as well as a disc. But it's really cool, and you can really hear Albert King's influence on Stevie when you hear them play next to each other. A lot of Stevie's bending was kind of borrowed from Albert King, so really cool. Not that Stevie wasn't his own guy, because he was amazing. Uh, all right, you got to board a plane, Darren. Be safe. Be safe. All right, all right. Thanks for stopping by, Darren. You've watched that video many times, David? Oh, yeah. The conversations. Yes, they're great. So cool. Gary Moore. Yep. I'm telling you, Gary Moore. He was a huge influence on me. Again, not that I've always tried to grab things that I liked about the people or loved about them without like ripping them off. I always told my students and tell them to this day, if you're going to learn a line or a lick, as some people call it, I want you to know the context and why that certain thing works, what makes it work. So that way you can apply it to other things. So for me, when I listen to my heroes, I always try to learn why they did what they did instead of maybe grabbing the exact lick, kind of learning their concept. And so Gary Moore was one of those people for me. I mean, the guy, man, he had fire. He had fire. In fact, if you guys get a chance, there's a great Roy Buchanan song called The Messiah Will Come Again, which is, you know, it's classic just with Roy doing it. But Gary Moore, just it's amazing. There's a live version of him doing that song. So if you get a chance, look it up on YouTube. Gary Moore, The Messiah Will Come Again. Trust me. Just trust me. You won't go wrong listening to it. Tower of Power. Yes. Another one, Scott. Tremendous. East Bay Soul, man. Those guys. You're still a young man, baby. Yep. I remember having I think it was called Drop It in the Slot. I think that was the name. It might have been the album name. But I had a bunch of vinyl. Tower of Power. I mean, again, love those guys. Tightest horn section, funky grooves, David Garibaldi playing drums, Rocco Prestia playing bass. Just, just killer. Okay, I'm gonna move on to another. So we did some. Oh yeah, here's some male vocal people that I like. Now you already heard me talk about Paul Rogers, and again, these are just a handful of things because I'd be here for the next week telling you stuff. So this up in the upper left-hand corner, that's Gino Vanelli, and that's the Brother to Brother album. And that was important for me, not only because the musicianship was tremendous, the writing, Gino is a great vocalist, but he's far beyond just a vocalist. He's an amazing musician. Plays drums and guitar, piano, can arrange, he's done operatic albums. I mean, he's pretty amazing. So, but there was a guitar player on that album, and I listened to it over and over when I was a kid. His name's Carlos Rios, and he's a left-handed guitar player. Kind of played. It was crazy because you'll hear me talk about Pat Martino later. So he was kind of like a rock and roll version of Pat Martino to me. He had these rock sensibilities and had lines that were similar to Pat Martino. That's my best way of describing it. And again, all the solos on that record, they're just memorable solos, really great. I listened to it over and over and over. So that's Gino Vanelli. Next to him, Ray Charles. I just love Ray Charles. I mean, my gosh, he was so cool. And then below him, and a lot of people don't know, he's not as popular as he should have been. Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway was just amazing. He died pretty young, and just incredible keyboard player, insanely good vocalist, just soulful. If you ever get a chance, there's a Leon Russell song that he sang. It's called A Song for You. Look it up. Donny Hathaway, A Song for You. It's live, and it's just crushing. It's crushing. Next to him, of course, the great Stevie Wonder. And what are you going to say about Stevie Wonder? He is amazing. Amazing. So that would be those guys. And I'm coming back. All right, you guys still with me? I saw an error message that said things disconnected for a moment. But it says successfully reconnected. So I'm going to hold for a second till I see if anybody's still with me. Hopefully you're still there. It does say successfully connected, but there's always this delay from when I broadcast to when you actually see things. So when you get a chance, shout it out. You got me. Okay, great, Mike. Thank you. Heard it all. Okay, great. Awesome. Yeah, it's weird. It disconnected. I got a message. So anyway, I want to hear some more influences, guys. Like sports heroes, anybody that really changed your life, teachers, family members, anybody. Because I have more to tell you, but I really would love to hear from you because I love hearing that. Scott? I got you. All right. Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to move on. So I had all those, soul singers and such, but I also grew up with, I loved classical music. I still do. Of course, all of this stuff I still love. It's, it's still an influence. And, I wouldn't be the person I am without all this music. So this would be classical music. And on the left there, top left-hand corner, that's Johann Sebastian Bach. For me, he's probably my favorite classical composer. So I'm a big Bach fan. To the right of him, classical guitarist Andres Segovia. He's everybody here is amazing. Below him, that whole group of guys, they're called the Romeros. It was Pepe Romero and his sons. I think it was Pepe was the father. But I used to listen to those guys. They're all of them are amazing. In fact, it was funny because I saw them tapping before I heard Van Halen tap on the guitar. I heard the Romeros tapping. So Van Halen took it to a new level and did his thing. You know, there's nobody like Eddie Van Halen. But it was interesting because I saw these guys as classical guitarists tap. And to the right of those guys, it's Julian Bream. He was my gosh, like what a technician and a masterful guitarist he is. So those are some classical influences. Okay, David, your Uncle Steve. Your Uncle Steve was one of my heroes. Dave's Uncle Steve was one of the sweetest, nicest men you'd ever meet on this planet. In fact, I have a picture in my studio. He was a great photographer as one of his talents. And there's a really cool picture he took and made for me, matted it. And it's of a bridge in Pittsburgh. I don't even know which bridge it is, but it's just an incredible shot. So it's in my studio hanging. Ah, David, thank you so much. Ah, you're nice, man. Well, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much. I hope that I hope I'm a positive influence. So thank you. So anyway, I'm going to move on. So those were classical folks. Now, of course, I grew up with a lot of jazz influences. So I'm going to give you some of the jazz guitar guys. Again, this is just a smidgen of what, I listened to. But these guys were real important. All the ones I'm mentioning, they were super important when I was younger. So this photo, upper left-hand corner, Wes Montgomery. Nothing to say but amazing. I'm still amazed. Actually, all these people. To the right of him, Grant Green. Under Wes Montgomery, in the color photo, Kenny Burrell. And to the right, George Benson, who can not only play like crazy, but he can sing like crazy. And he was the very first concert I ever got to see as a kid. So super important to me. Super, super. And besides that, upper left-hand corner, Pat Martino, genius. I actually got to study with him. He was living in Philadelphia. Just an insanely talented and humble genius. That's all I can say. To the right, Mr. Jim Hall. Just, again, just full of taste, knowledge, real melodic, wonderful. Below, Joe Pass. Incredible, incredible. In fact, earlier, I mentioned Aretha Franklin playing piano. Well, I have some pianists coming up. But I was a kid and I saw Joe Pass and Oscar Peterson play just a guitar and piano duo that was amazing. So that was really influential. And to the right, fusion guitarist Alan Holdsworth. And this guy was groundbreaking. I don't think anybody really played like Alan Holdsworth. When he came out, he was so different and amazing. And I've met him a couple times. He passed away as well. But Real humble, really humble, but like terrifyingly good. Okay. Alan Holdsworth, English guitarist. Amazing. All right. So I'm going to move on unless anybody else has any other influence they want to mention. Anybody? All right. Well, before I go to this next set of photos, I'm going to let you know I'm going to be doing these shows every so often. If you haven't signed up for my mailing list, you can go to my website and click on contact. You can do it there. Also, it's probably in my description box. I'm not playing live shows for health reasons, but I am definitely making a lot of music. So my home is going to be here on YouTube. It's going to be talking to you. I'm going to be doing some guitar instructional stuff, music overall, so it probably would benefit other musicians as well. And I'm also going to be doing some encouraging portions. I have a little series called Beyond the Strings. So I'm going to be adding to that all the time. And again, this is my place. So if you haven't gotten to purchase any of the music at my store on my website, it would be appreciated if you can. Because as musicians and people that don't play shows like myself, that's one of the main ways we make a living is by selling music that we create. So if you get a chance to do that, that'd be great. Otherwise, I surely appreciate you being here. So I was at the Jazz Guitarist and I accidentally clicked on this photo. So that photo that you're looking at, that's Herbie Hancock at the top, and it's really about the album that was really influential to me. It was called VSOP, and there were live recordings, and they were with different groups. So they were straight ahead jazz, but he had this funky version of his group. And I know one of the songs was called Hang Up Your Hang Ups, but I'm posting this because these two guys were really important to me as a funky rhythm guitarist. I love playing that stuff, and I listened to this record over and over and over. So that's Ray Parker Jr. from Ghostbusters fame. He's a great guitar player, great rhythm player especially. And then a guy named Wah Wah Watson. Wah Wah Watson. His name was Melvin Ragan, I believe. But the tandem of those two guys was really amazing. So if you get a chance, look up Herbie Hancock VSOP. It would be the funky stuff. Hang Up Your Hang Ups. I can't remember what the other song was called. It was like I think there were two songs on one side of this album that were super long, and they just grooved like, in the words of a keyboard player that I know, Dave Budway, they were grooving like mugs. That's what he would say. Oh man, Scott, that's so nice of you to say. That's surely appreciated. You are a nice guy, man. Joe Satriani, yes, great guitar player, great. Actually, I was on a tribute CD to Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. You can still find it. It's called The Lords of Karma, and I did a Steve Vai song. But getting to hear those guys, because I had to listen to different, I had to listen to them to learn some tunes and that kind of stuff. And they're both off the charts amazing, both those guys. So Joe Satriani is a great influence to have. He is awesome. So let's see here. I have, oh yeah. So besides playing the guitar, and I told you, if I didn't play guitar, I would have probably been a tenor saxophone player. I love saxophone, tenor sax in particular. There's just something about the range of the tenor sax. I think they say it's because it's closest to the human voice. And it just, it's, it's it for me. So I've learned a lot of what I play. I learned a lot from listening to other instrumentalists and singers, but saxophone players, piano players. I listen to everybody, but a lot from saxophone players and piano players. And there's two saxophonists I'm going to show you that I absolutely adore. And okay, first guy on the left, the incredible John Coltrane. When I was a kid, we used to listen to the Love Supreme album, and we would actually, my brother Victor and I would sing it. We would, because there was a vocal chant on it, and we would sing it. But I listened to that, and I'd ride around in the car with my father, and we would play the entire Blue Train album, and over and over and over. And then to the right, one of my big heroes, Michael Brecker. Michael Brecker. Brecker Brothers. Michael Brecker, again, one of the most recorded saxophonists you'll ever hear. If you ever get a chance, he does, some of you may really like this album. It's called Ballads. And he does a thing with James Taylor. And it's really cool because I'm a big James Taylor fan too. So you should check them out. Both those guys. And another saxophone player that I don't have a picture of, Stanley Turrentine. He's from Pittsburgh. Stanley Turrentine was funky and had this great sound. His tone was, his tone always did it for me. I just love how he sounded. So, saxophonist. All right, coming back here. Oh, thank you very much. Are you, Mike, you said love your version of that. Let me see, did I miss it? Oh, you have an Ibanez. Yeah. Joe Satriani Ibanez. Those are nice guitars. Yeah, great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure which song you were talking about. Maybe it was I did Tender Surrender, the Steve Vai song. Maybe that's what you're talking about. And if you are, thank you. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Lords of Karma. Yep. Thank you so much. I was very blessed because that song got picked as Guitar One was a magazine. Guitar One magazine picked it as their favorite cut. They had they used to pick out albums. They would pick out a section and say the moment of truth. That was their favorite portion of the album, and they picked mine. It was pretty cool because there were really a lot of great guitar players on that disc. So I was very grateful to have that. So beyond that, piano players. I also love piano, okay? And I still play some piano. And these guys right here are some of my favorite piano players. On the left, Don Grolnick. Don Grolnick could play anything, and he played steadily with James Taylor, but he was also a big jazz guy, so he played with groups like Steps Ahead and Michael Brecker, all those guys. Really amazing. He died way too young, and great composer. I loved him. To the right, the incredible Chick Corea. What can I say? He's amazing too. And below him, in the color photo, that's Herbie Hancock. To the right, I've already mentioned him. That's Oscar Peterson. So all those guys. I still listen to all these people. Oh my, you actually bought the Bon Jovi tribute CD. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, I did Wanted Dead or Alive. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. All right, so beyond all those influences, I'm a big country guy. And in fact, I love all of the facets of country music, but I particularly like some of the old school guys. So the next photo I'm going to show you, these are three of my favorite old school guys. And this would be Willie Nelson up in the left-hand corner, George Jones, and then the great Merle Haggard. And I still listen to this kind of stuff, man. I love these guys. And Merle Haggard would have some burning guitar players with him, okay? And there's another guy I want you to check out. I actually knew him. Jackie King, he passed away as well, but he played guitar with Willie Nelson. They did a couple jazz kind of things where Willie Nelson sang like a jazz version of Tumble Tumbleweeds. And so you should check that out too. But all three of these guys were just incredible. So I still listen to that stuff. Plus, I'm a big country music fan anyway. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Mike. You know, I appreciate that so much. And Glenn Pavone was a wonderful. He was wonderful. In fact, we got to do a few shows together and had just the best time. I loved him. He was really great. Again, gone way too soon, but an amazing talent and a really, if you knew him, a sweet, sweet guy. He was a really good human. So, and I appreciate you mentioning with him. Thank you very much. So I have one more set of photos. These would be country guitar players. Now, there's one guy in this set of photos that I think goes beyond country. Okay. He kind of plays everything. His name's Danny Gatton. He can play pretty much anything, jazz, and he played rockabilly stuff and amazing country. But I lumped him in here because he does play a good bit of country, and he's a really great hybrid picker. So I'm going to show you this photo. All right. In the left-hand corner, that's the amazing Chet Atkins. And, you know, come on. Chet Atkins, what can you say? Nothing but the most amazing stuff. To the right, that's Albert Lee, who's another incredible. He was an English country guitarist. In fact, there's two English guys in this picture. Albert Lee. In fact, if you look back at some old Clapton live concerts and stuff, you'll see Albert Lee playing second guitar. Not that he's a second guitarist, because that guy can shred. But he's wonderful. And I did meet him one time, and he was real sweet, very meek and mild-mannered. Below him playing with the beer bottle, that is Danny Gatton. And he was another terrifyingly good, great guitarist. So Danny Gatton. To the right of him is a guy that I don't think a lot of people know, but they should. His name's Ray Flack. Ray Flack is another English guitar player, and I first heard him on a Roseanne Cash album. And I really think the name of the song was, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know this, but I think it was called Highway 40 Blues. And I was like, who is that guy? And he's really amazing. So those are a lot of my influences. They're not all of the influences that I have, but there are a lot of them. So sorry for some of the technical glitches tonight. Sometimes you'll have this in these live streams, and I apologize for that. But I do thank you for coming out and hanging. And, if you want to rewatch it, you can skip the blank, skip the blank sections. But if you have any more things to ask me or tell me about, I'm here. I'm not going to go yet unless you're good, and then I'll say goodnight to you all. Had a great time though. Really, really great. It's nice to get to hang with you. And if you can, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit the notification bell. That way, when these live streams are coming about, you'll get notified. And also, I won't spam you like crazy, but if you haven't joined my email list, you should, because it'll let you know of special events going on. And I send one, sometimes two emails a month. It won't get crazy on you. So do sign up for that. And again, there are links in the comments to other things. And it looks like if you're not giving me any other folks that are influences, thanks, Mike. Hey, man, thank you so much. You're a pleasure. I really appreciate you. I do. And hey, and by the way, I hope you guys, I hope you're healing up well. Okay. I know you had some surgery and your wife had the back issues. And so I think your wife had the back issues. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I know you had some surgery. So I hope you're doing well with that. And I understand the healing process. So anyway, hey, listen, I guess I'm going to call it a night. God bless you all. I really, really had a great time. You know, it's a stressful world out there right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and getting to hang with great people like you means the world to me, okay? Thank you. Scott, oh man, thank you. You're great as well, buddy. And I hope you keep enjoying the tone poem CD and hope it's relaxing to you. All right. Hey, everybody. I wish you nothing but the very, very best. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll let you know when the next stream's going to be, okay? And keep your eyes peeled, too. I do have some of the Beyond the Strings, and then I have some of the short things called Notes Beyond the Strings. So those will be coming up. And then in April, sometime in April, I'm going to start putting a few guitar lessons up. I have to program some preamps and stuff like that and get the audio stuff together before I can do that. But it's all good, and I look forward to more events with you here, okay? All right, everybody, be well, okay?